Elected officials, whether at the local, state, or federal level, these are the men and women who diligently make us look like fucking idiots for electing them. Let's meet another in our ongoing series, People Who Somehow Got Elected. This week's person who somehow got elected, Glenn Grothman, U.S. Representative from Wisconsin's 6th District, the picturesque home to cheeseheads, and that creepy prosecutor from Making a Murderer. Grothman was elected to Congress in 2014, but before that, he spent 22 years in the Wisconsin State Legislature, making his name as a fiscal and social conservative, taking bold stances such as speaking out against unequal pay law.
Senator Glenn Grothman said, quote, "You could argue that money is more important for men. I think a guy in their first job, maybe because they expect to be a breadwinner someday, maybe a little more money conscious."
Yes, Glenn Grothman talks like a character out of Mad Men and dresses like a contestant on a 1987 episode of Jeopardy! Which is not to say Glenn Grothman does not support women. He loves all of them, even the single moms.
I know a lot of gals who are having kids out of wedlock, and I love them. I've been outside abortion clinics, and I've encouraged them.
See? Would a man who hates women go talk to them outside of abortion clinics or end that same speech this way?
Our country is not going to survive if we continue this war on men. Thanks for having me.
But if there's one issue dear to Glenn Grothman's heart, it's racism. Or as he calls it...
Well, this is one more example of, I think, screaming racism where obviously none exists.
The idea that somehow, opponents say it's racist is ridiculous.
Yes, for some reason, Glenn Grothman pronounces this word racism, which is weird, because he clearly has no problem making an S sound.
Governor Walker is going to be giving the tech schools, the prisons, the counties, the cities, all less money.
And Grothman's obsession with race is especially strange, given that his district is so overwhelmingly white. It wasn't just the location of the state's 2015 Polka Hall of Fame Awards, it was also the birthplace of Oshkosh B'gosh, the closest wardrobe equivalent to dressing your child in an actual banjo. But that doesn't mean Grothman can't link racism to any story. Take Planned Parenthood.
Given the racist background of Planned Parenthood, and not liking people who are not white, I wonder if one of the reasons why Planned Parenthood likes to do these sex-selective abortions is disproportionately they're done on people of an Asian background.
Incidentally, that's 100% false. But that's just scratching the surface of Grothman's race-based opinions. He's also opposed to making Martin Luther King Day a holiday.
I would bet the vast majority of African Americans, as the vast majority of everybody else, isn't doing anything for Martin Luther King on Martin Luther King Day. I think most employees who are off are shopping at the mall. Maybe they're taking an extended vacation somewhere over the weekend. Let's be honest.
And that's not the only African-American holiday he opposes.
Wisconsin State Senator Glenn Grothman isn't backing down on his stance that the African-American holiday Kwanzaa should, quote, die a quick death.
I think the underlying problem here is not enough TV types, when they talk about Kwanzaa, talk about the horrible, racist, violent past of its founder.
Grothman says Kwanzaa is a holiday that, quoting here, almost no black people today care about.
And if you're wondering how he can be so sure, don't worry, he checked.
I spent some time, I happened to be at the Rose Bowl, and I spent some time interviewing briefly 20 black Americans from either California or Arizona, or people getting on airplanes, and none of them celebrated Kwanzaa. So I don't think Kwanzaa is really important to the average African American.
That's a flawed study, though it was published in the New England Journal of Harassing Strangers Who Are Just Trying to Board a Plane. But Glenn Grothman knows whether it's African Americans at airports or women at abortion clinics, everyone's entitled to his insane opinions. And that's why it's so remarkable that Glenn Grothman is a politician who somehow got elected.